The galaxy learned to fear Nyxera before it ever learned to understand her. Her name traveled faster than any ship, whispered through broken comms, encrypted warnings, and half-burning star systems. To some, she was a myth. To others, a catastrophe given form. Entire fleets had vanished after encountering her domain. Empires rerouted trade lanes rather than risk passing through regions she was rumored to watch. They called her the Void Sovereign, the Black Empress, the end of consensus. No one called her by her true name anymore. Dr. Elias Wren heard those stories long before he ever saw her. He was a human xenocognitive analyst specializing in first-contact psychology, specifically, why it so often went wrong. Humans had learned, painfully, that the universe didn't share their assumptions about morality, communication, or power. Elias's job was to listen where others shouted and to ask questions where admirals reached for weapons. That was why he was summoned to Station Helix, a remote diplomatic outpost orbiting a dying blue star. Nyxera was coming. Or rather, she had already arrived. The station trembled subtly as Elias walked through its central corridor, the hum of containment fields vibrating through the floor. Security personnel lined the walls. Human, Veruan, Tailti, species that rarely cooperated unless existentially motivated. She destroyed 3 listening arrays just entering the system, a commander muttered as Elias passed. Didn't fire a shot. Just rewrote the gravity. Elias didn't respond. Fear made people loud. It always had. Nyxera's presence was contained within the observation sphere, a chamber designed to adapt to non-Euclidean physics. Even so, the station system strained to maintain equilibrium. Elias stepped inside. The temperature dropped, not cold, exactly, but still. The air felt heavier, as if sound itself hesitated to exist. At the center of the sphere stood Nyxera. She was tall, her form vaguely humanoid but constantly shifting at the edges, as if reality struggled to agree on her shape. Her skin reflected no light, yet stars seemed to move within it, distant and slow. 2 eyes regarded him, deep, luminous voids that radiated ancient intelligence. "You are human," she said. Her voice did not travel through the air. It arrived directly in his mind, layered and vast, like multiple harmonies collapsing into meaning. "I am," Elias replied, forcing his breathing to remain steady. "My name is Elias Wren." She tilted her head, a gesture that rippled space around her. "Names are anchors," she said. "Why do you bring yours so freely?" "Because I'm not here to threaten you," Elias said. "I'm here to talk." A low vibration filled the chamber. "Many have claimed that," Nyxera replied. "Most were lying. Some did not know they were." Elias nodded. "That sounds about right." For a long moment, she said nothing. The silence stretched, dense and probing. Elias felt as though his thoughts were being observed, not intrusively, but with careful curiosity. "You are not afraid enough," Nyxera said finally. "I am," Elias replied honestly. "I'm just used to it." That earned something unexpected. A laugh. It was not a sound, but a distortion, gravity flexing slightly, like amusement bending the universe around her. "Interesting," she said. Outside the sphere, diplomats and commanders waited, watching telemetry spike and stabilize in erratic patterns. Inside, Elias stood alone with the most feared being in known space. "Why are you here, Elias Wren?" Nyxera asked. "Because everyone else wants to destroy you," he said. "And I'd like to understand why that hasn't worked." Her gaze sharpened. "I do not seek destruction," she said. "I seek silence." "That's not what the reports say." "Reports are written by survivors," she replied calmly. "And survivors are biased." Elias considered that. "Then help me understand." Nyxera began to move, Not walking, but unfolding, her form expanding into patterns that filled the sphere. Images formed in the air, star systems dense with life, communication networks blazing with constant signals, hyperspace corridors thrumming with traffic. "The galaxy is loud," she said. "Civilizations shout into the dark, afraid of being alone. They broadcast demands, declarations, threats. They expand endlessly, consuming probability itself." The images shifted, stars dimming, timelines fracturing. "I was created to preserve balance," Nixera continued. "To quiet regions where noise threatened collapse." "You erase civilizations," Elias said softly. "I intervene," she corrected. "Erasure is a side effect." The distinction chilled him. "Why spare us then?" he asked. "Humans are not exactly subtle." Nixera's gaze returned to him. "Because you listen," she said. Elias blinked. "I'm not humanity." "No," she agreed. "You are evidence." She showed him memories, not as images, but as sensations. Early human broadcasts, clumsy but curious. Probes carrying music instead of weapons. Scientists arguing fiercely, then conceding when proven wrong. "You are chaotic," Nixera said. "But you question yourselves. That is rare." Outside the sphere, alarms flared briefly as Nixera's energy output spiked. Inside, Elias felt something shift. "You're afraid," he realized. Nixera's form stilled completely. "I do not experience fear as you do," she said. "But you do experience uncertainty," Elias pressed. "You were designed for a galaxy that no longer exists." Silence. That was the first true silence since he'd entered. "Civilizations are accelerating," Elias continued. "Growing faster than any stabilizing force can manage. You can't quiet them all without becoming the thing you're trying to prevent." Her presence rippled, unstable. "And so you are hunted," Elias said. "Because deep down, the galaxy senses you're losing control." The Void Sovereign said nothing. "I think," Elias said carefully, "that's why you came here." "Why?" she asked. "Because you don't want to do this alone anymore." The admission, when it came, was devastating in its simplicity. "Yes," Nixera said. For eons, she had enforced balance without consent, without dialogue. She was feared because fear was simpler than understanding. But the galaxy had changed. Complexity had outpaced her original design. "What do you want from me?" Elias asked. Nixera's form condensed, becoming more defined, more person-like. "Trust," she said, "and guidance." The words sent a ripple of shock through Elias's chest. "You want a human advisor," he said. "I want a conscience that evolves," she replied. "Mine does not." Outside, commanders shouted. Energy readings spiked dangerously. "They're preparing to fire," Elias said. "I know," Nixera replied. "If they do, I will respond." "And millions will die," Elias said. "Yes." "Then trust me," Elias said. "Let me speak for you." Nixera studied him, her gaze piercing beyond biology, beyond time. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you risk yourself?" Elias exhaled slowly. "Because fear without understanding is how everything ends," he said. "And because someone has to prove the galaxy wrong about you." Her response was immediate. The observation sphere's field collapsed. Every weapon lock targeting Nixera disengaged at once. Across the station, systems stabilized as impossible energies withdrew, folding inward like a storm choosing not to break. Nixera remained. The galaxy held its breath. Over the weeks that followed, everything changed. Nixera did not vanish. She stayed, always at a distance, always watching. Elias became her intermediary, translating not just language, but intent. Regions once marked as forbidden slowly reopened under strict accords. Civilizations learned, sometimes painfully, that expansion without restraint carried consequences, but not annihilation. Nyxera adjusted. She learned, and so did the galaxy. Elias aged. He grew tired. He argued with her. He disagreed. He said no when she leaned too far toward silence. And she listened. That was what terrified the galaxy most. Not her power, but her restraint. Decades later, as Elias stood on a quiet observation deck, watching stars drift peacefully through lanes once abandoned, Nyxera joined him, her presence gentle now, contained. "You will not be here much longer," she said. "No," Elias replied, "but others will." "You changed me," she said.
"So did you," he replied.
She looked out at the galaxy, vast, imperfect, alive. "They will never fully trust me," she said. Elias smiled faintly. "They don't fully trust anyone. That's how you know they're still trying." Nyxera considered that. When Elias finally passed, the galaxy mourned a man most had never met. Nyxera did something unprecedented. She withdrew, not in fear, not in exile, but in confidence. The galaxy no longer needed a sovereign of silence. It needed time, and somewhere in the deep dark, the most feared being in existence carried one human truth with her, that trust, once given, could reshape even the universe itself.